Hey, what's up, everybody? How's my focus? I feel like my camera focus isn't great. Hold on, let me fix it. Let me fix it for you. Oop, that's not it. There we go. What's up, chat? Welcome to the VS Code weekly live stream, everybody. Exciting times. It's February 17th, Thursday. Hope everybody had a good week, a good Valentine's. Did you do anything for Valentine's Day? Do y'all celebrate Valentine's Day on Monday? You like that? Y'all like Valentine's Day? Is that a thing? Is that like a thing all over the world? Valentine's Day? Is like, have we adopted this globally? This coerced day of good feelings? I don't know. What is up, chat? How are you today? You know, I thought we would start today off a little bit differently because we always do the same thing every day, but not so much today. So we do have a great guest for you today. And I'm going to go ahead and welcome him here. So let's add Alvaro to the stream. What's up, Alvaro?
Hey, Berg, how you doing?
Doing well, man. Today we're gonna talk about PHP and Laravel.
Yes. Today we are going to show that the power that Laravel has as a framework and how it integrates with VS Code or Visual Studio Code as a first-class companion, let's say, to optimize the way we work when we create web apps. And especially in my case, I mean, perhaps somebody remember me from the PHP community, but if you ever use RabbitMQ in the PHP community, that was me maybe 10 years ago. So blame that guy, not me. I'm innocent. But yeah, I'm really happy to be working again with the PHP community.
Well, that's awesome. Now, before we do any of that, Alvaro, we're going to play a game. Y'all may have heard of this game. It's called Wordle, and we rewrote it in Node so we could do it from the command line. And I don't know, let's see how quickly we can get this, because this is not the same word that is on Wordle, the actual Wordle site. So we're getting a random one here. All right, so chat, let me move here so I can see y'all can play along here. I saw somewhere, Alvaro, that the best, now first of all, do you play Wordle, Alvaro?
I haven't played.
You haven't played it. Okay, so here's the rules. We have to guess a 5-letter word. And if we get the letter right in the correct position, it's green. If it's wrong, but if it's the right letter in the wrong position, it's yellow. And if it's the wrong letter, it's just gray, right? So I saw somewhere, I think it was on TikTok, that the best letter to start with, or the best word, is later, because it contains the most commonly used letters in the English language for 5-letter words. All right. So we get 6 guesses, by the way, to try to get this right. So we have an L and an R, both in the wrong position.
And 8 is not in the word.
A is not there. E is not there. So we need vowels: I, O, U, and Y. So it could be something like R, I, L, R, O, L. Rolls. That's a letter. That's a 5-letter word. Relate. That's too many letters.
There is an A and an E in relate.
Should we try? Let's try rolls. No, it's not in the word list. Okay. What else? Any ideas here? R, O, L. I don't have any ideas. I'm out of ideas already. Rolls? Not in the word list. Man, that was a really good guess too.
Rates, people are saying in the chat.
Rates? No, it can't be rates because there's an A. I'm gonna.
Yeah, A, T, and E are not there, right?
Yeah, they're not there. I already tried later. I rate's another one. Okay, so R is not in the. So we have an I and an R, but R is not in the second position. So it could be R-I-L. Large? No, it can't be large because A is not. We don't have an A or an E. RIL. I have no idea. RI. Help.
My first time playing this is not. I'm not very.
Trill? Word is not in the list. It's so hard. We're only going to do this for a few more minutes. We're just going to give up. I'll just put in a bunch of 5-letter words until we get it.
We can just pin it on chat, but that they are not helping us. It's not like bad at this.
That's not even none of those words. What's happening? I feel like it's RIL something, or it's not. Too many. Okay, so R's in the middle.
Good. Garage? No. This an L, right?
R's in the middle. And we have a G.
Yeah, we have a G now.
So G. So we have GIRL. Is it this possibly?
Try.
No. Leader? No, it can't be an E.
Grill. Some birdie here on my cockroach. They say grill, maybe.
Oh, so close. So I is not in the first position. It's not in the third position. It must be either in the second or the last. But if it's GIR, it's got to be GIRL. That doesn't make sense. I can't think of a word.
Yearly?
I don't think. Is that a word? Oh my gosh. All right. Thank you, chat. We got it. That's your Wordle for today.
Not sure what's harder. This or the demo that's coming.
All right. Yes. So listen, that's not what you're here for. You're not here to watch us play a Wordle clone, or maybe you are. Maybe you enjoyed that. Okay. Alvaro, we're going to talk about PHP and DevContainers and all kinds. And from what I understand today, you are going to stand up an app that has PHP, Redis, MySQL, and a bunch of other stuff, but you're not going to install any of that. It's just going to...
Bert, I'm getting old, okay? You can see it here. Oh, this decoration is not Christmas.
You can't see mine because it all fell out. Yes,
exactly. So I'm in a similar way, indicating my age. So the less we code, the better. I think the more we automate is like that should be the credo of programmers. Like, get me out of my job. I should do stuff that replaces me, so I can do the next cool thing, basically. Yeah. And installing MySQL, installing Redis, all that stuff, I remember doing it back in 2008, 2010, when there was the NoSQL wars, as many people remember them. But yeah, the deal here is that, in all seriousness, like, you have a project, right? And you always need to onboard people. You need to work with colleagues. You need to bring people into the project. And something that is kind of has always been a bit annoying is say, okay, what do I need to install to run this project? And maybe you just want to fix one form. Like, I don't know, you're a designer and somebody asks you, hey, can you fix that button there? And then when you go to the README, assuming the project even has a README, you start seeing MySQL, Redis, I don't care what. And you're like, I just wanted to change one form, right?
Yeah.
So some of that part has been solved by Docker. Docker helped a lot in that regard, right? In the last years. But still, then you need to be like a Docker expert somehow and know how to write Docker files. And then suddenly Docker Compose became a thing, and everything started exploding again in complexity and know-how. And again, but I just wanted to fix that thing, right? Thanks for us. We got Visual Studio Code that came with the idea of something called DevContainers. We will see more in detail what is a DevContainer, but basically it's a file that tells Visual Studio Code, hey, this is how you can run this project with containers, set it up for me. Visual Studio will do that for you and launch the environment, give you everything, let's say, for free. And why Laravel? Because Laravel, the PHP framework, it has many options for installation, as you can see here for your first Laravel project, right? But it comes with a great tool called Sail. And Sail lets you choose services that you want to run, like you can see here with MySQL, with Redis, and so on. And if you run that command, you will have it all this set up for you. But we work together with the Laravel team, like the people we from the Visual Studio team work together with them at Laravel. And they say, hey, can we also add a DevContainer that is installed by default when I create a new Laravel project? And then everything just works, right? I mean, you have the first great steps are all there, but let's bring VS Code here automatically, so to speak.
Yeah,
yeah.
So really quick, we should point out, Alvaro, and I think this is correct, that Laravel, if you're not familiar with Laravel, because I was not, I'm not a PHP dev, and so I had to look into this, but Laravel is not just an application framework like MVC controllers and routes and things like that. It is that. It also has an ORM for accessing data in it. It has... I'm trying to think. There's a whole list of things it contains. So it really is like a full stack, I guess would be kind of the right description there. And so in order for Laravel to make you successful, it can't just give you a web project. You really need the database and like a Redis cache and all this other stuff. And so that's kind of, when you go through the getting started guide, it's like, how do they get you up and running with all that stuff without making you install all that stuff?
Yeah, so again, for me, I always think about the usability of things and the developer on the other side of the desk, let's say, where I may be like super into Laravel, super into RabbitMQ, as I was back then when I was a core developer for RabbitMQ. But you don't need to know RabbitMQ. You just want to publish, let's say, a message to the queue and consume it on the other end. Why do I need to make you suffer RabbitMQ to just do such a simple task, right?
Why do I need to understand the whole thing in order to use it?
This is what, when I saw Sail, really, bravo, Laravel, this is the way to go. We need people that just run one command and get going. So let's try this command.
Okay, let's do this.
Here's where we pray to all the live demo gods, because we know how that is, right? So I'm in the command line here.
Yeah, and you've got Windows. You're using Windows 11.
I'm using Windows 11, and I'm the Windows subsystem for Linux 2. Let's see if this works. I will just quick pro tip here. Let's add a hashtag there. This is really cool. Windows is already warning me, hey, you are pasting some command from the internet. Like some hacker give you a command, be careful what you're doing. But
you are copying and pasting something from Stack Overflow. Are you sure you want to do this?
So we paste. Of course, nothing happened because I added the hashtag here, which is just a comment. It's just a comment in Bash. So I wanted to see what the command will look like, but I don't want to run it. I don't want this breaking my machine.
That's a great tip. Yeah.
Then let's change the name. I don't want it to be called example app. Let's call it Visual Studio Code Demo, let's say. And this is an API that Laravel has. It supports many more services, but we are just going to go with MySQL, Redis, and a DevContainer, right?
So quick question. You ever notice like you paste something in from the clipboard and it just executes it automatically? Like you didn't even press enter. You just paste it in and it executes. Why do you have any idea why that happens?
It's because there is a new line character at the end, like an invisible new line, and it's what just happened to me. It was executed because actually there was a new line that when I selected, I actually got that.
Got the new line. So that is a really cool trick to put that hash there, so in case you want to actually tweak the command some.
Yeah. Okay, let's try and pray, right?
I remember the days of trying to learn Ruby on Rails. Chat, I don't know, did y'all ever do Ruby? Try to learn Ruby on Rails? And I spent most of the time trying to get Ruby working on Windows, is my recollection of that experience. I spent very little time actually building Rails apps, most of the time just fighting Ruby.
Here wants a password. Let me see. I got it in the right place.
Tell us your password, Alvaro.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I love Burke. That's
everybody's password. What a coincidence. Chat, yeah. Isn't that your password? All right.
So this seems to have worked. Little trick that for the audience, if the container for MySQL or Redis or and so on are not in your machine, they will be downloaded and the images will be built. For sure, we don't want to wait for that, so I have already those containers in my machine. Otherwise, Sail will take care of all this, getting the containers, fetching them, but we don't want to wait for that. But as you can see, this setup a PHP environment, got all the dependencies, etc., and we have that there. So I have this VS demo thingy, and let's see if I do code and launch Visual Studio Code from here. So again, Visual Studio Code is asking, do you trust the author of this folder? That is also, I think, is a really cool feature, because we don't know what could be in that project, right? But we trust them, yes. And yes. So I think here there is something that is, I should have had a prompt. I think because I took time accepting, the VS Code is not prompting me to open the folder in another container. Let me try again quickly. Yeah,
there it is.
So,
yeah.
VS Code is asking me, do you want to open this folder in a container? Because it detected that there is actually a dev container in that folder. And here it says starting dev container show log. Let's just see what's going on. It's building the container, loading the definitions, and so on. Once this is done, I will explain what's going on in the background, basically, or what's happening here. But I don't know, Bark, if you have questions.
Well, let's see. Chat, what's up? Somebody asking about the OpenAI PHP SDK. Is OpenAI PHP SDK? I don't know anything about do you?
No.
There's your answer. No, we have no clue. Let's see. Lots of people on the doing.
Yeah, and somebody, if I may take that, say that he's glad that we are giving some love to PHP. And yeah, I mean, PHP for me is one of the biggest languages, and not for me. You can see many of these polls on like Stack Overflow, GitHub, and so on. PHP is always one of the top languages, and it's a great language for getting things done. And that's what people need many times: getting things done. And as you can see from this philosophy from Laravel, is get things done. And I really love that, because
it's really nice. So Gabriel, listen, I don't understand. I'm just still trying to understand Docker too, and that's one of the nice things about DevContainers, is that it kind of abstracts that away from you. So that's kind of cool. I don't know. Are you going to show that because I think the PHP comes with the Docker config, right? Like that's not a DevContainer thing. That's
I will show all that, but let's try if this is actually doing anything. I go to localhost. So I went to localhost. That could be a screenshot. I don't know what it is, but I type localhost and we have a Laravel project going. Okay,
it's alive.
He's lying. No, but the command seems to have worked. Seems. Let's see what was there. Right. So PHP VS Code took that DevContainer file and ran everything, and magic happened. But it's right that we have all this question on chat about what's going on here, right? So first, we have this DevContainer folder that inside has a DevContainer JSON. I don't know if somebody in the chat can share the link to the DevContainer definition, but what you see here, you can learn on the Visual Studio Code website what goes into a DevContainer. But basically, VS Code detects that there is such a file, and here you can define a lot of things. When we worked with the Laravel team, we saw like, yes, there are some, for example, extensions that you can install directly to VS Code for when you work with a Laravel project. We didn't want to enable them by default because out of respect of each one, let's say, choices when working with Laravel. But you can uncomment any line here, and VS Code will say, I not only need to install to run Laravel, MySQL, and so on, I will also install by default all these extensions like for working with templates in Laravel, IntelliSense, and so on. But just telling you like all the cool stuff you can define in a DevContainer file. But more importantly, here we are saying use that Docker Compose to build the environment. So let's see what's there. Here is the Docker Compose. And in the Docker Compose, I have three services. Laravel Test, this is my app. MySQL is the MySQL service, and Redis. So this is something that was done automatically by Sail. Sail comes with a definition, with a Docker file for PHP. This is part of Sail, of the distribution. And Sail will build a Docker Compose that knows how to point to that file, right? Sorry. It also configures like the www user, some stuff for Xdebug, that is debugging mode for PHP, lot of details, right? Where are the volumes, what networks, and it depends on two services, MySQL and Redis. So then we have the MySQL service. It has an image. It has some ports, passwords, all the configuration that MySQL requires. And then it will do the similar thing for Redis. You may wonder, where is all this configuration? Never do this on a live demo, kids. Never show your passwords, okay? But these are the default password. But truly, this is the wrong security practices. But if you go to the environment folder, you can see there is a database connection, host, port, etc. Of course, you will need to change this for a prod. You are not going to go to prod with the password, right?
I wonder how many Laravel projects are out there with a DB username of sale and a password of password.
Maybe we can go with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but I mean, let's at least change the password, right? But anyway, all this, you have the .env file, which will populate all these other things required by Sail and Docker Compose and so on. So, recapping, VS Code found that there was a DevContainer file, asked us if we want to open the folder inside a container. We say yes. VS Code went and built all these services, started the network, all the stuff, and now we have a project that is running inside a container. If I go to localhost, this is super cool. I don't need some weird network address, IP. I don't care. I just go localhost. That's my thing working. And before taking questions, let's see if this is actually working, because for me, this feels fake. This is like a screenshot I'm showing here. I don't know if this is actually running. So Laravel has the views are here, I think. Yes. So you have the routes. Let me close the console. You have the routes, and they are returning the welcome template, which I believe is in
resources. I think it's in
resources. Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks. And views, and here is welcome. So let's grab the body, everything that is in the body. Let's take it out. And I'm going to type H1 VS Code.
You got to put a space between VS and code, or our marketing person's gonna. We're both gonna be in huge trouble.
Let me.
There we go. We'll get reported. Even better. That's just for you, marketing, because we love you.
Yeah. Let's refresh here.
Hey.
I mean, yes, it's working. So yeah, I mean, it sounds silly. I know we are joking here, but imagine like I literally copied a command from the Laravel documentation, pasted on my command line, run VS Code. I have a fully running web project. I can start making changes, you name it. Burke.
Yes. So this is a good question. It's let's hold on. This is Evalda's asking the quintessential question here is like, but why would you have it in Docker and not as a Windows program? Is because without that, you would otherwise have to download and install MySQL, make sure it's the right version, download and install Redis cache. You might have different ports for those things, right? They might be exposed differently than the project knows about. And so in this way, they can give you all of that. So you don't have to install anything. And this is from like a tutorial perspective. If you're Laravel, this is really smart because the truth is people don't read. And this, I know that this is true because I do this, right? Like my eyes scan over the words and I just copy the code. And I'm like, just give me the code, I'll figure it out. And so with this, it's basically one command and you're up and running. Whereas opposed to if you had to walk people through installing all that other stuff, there would be a whole page of tutorial dedicated just to environment setup.
Yeah, it's like every time a tool proposes this kind of solutions, we need to think about repeatable environments that a colleague can just launch and start working. And when they find a bug, it's not because they have the wrong MySQL version or because they install it differently or because maybe they did sudo when installing it and then it's running under a different user and your user doesn't have access to that other user's services. And like you want to avoid all those things, the more your team scales. For sure, if you're like a lone developer, let's say, working on your own project, sometimes many of these things you don't need them. But it's similar to say, back in the day, let's say, why would I need a makefile? I know how to type the commands to build my project. But at some point, you are bored of all of the time giving all the same command options and like, okay, I just want to do make enter. Here, we want the same. But pointing towards an audience that requires all these services. And sometimes it's not even a developer, like I say, maybe a designer that doesn't want to deal with MySQL. They just want to fix some style, I don't know, and it will work for them. Or your boss that wants you need to send them the project. And hey, look, download this, open with Visual Studio Code. That's all you need to do. It will work.
All right. So are we going to do any what are you going to do next? You do any database queries or anything like that?
Let's try because again,
right,
I don't trust any of this, as I've been telling you. For me, this it's a guy behind the scenes clicking on a PowerPoint slide, right? So let's try to do and see if Redis is working. Okay. So how can we do that? Let's have a counter in Redis. You can have counters. So every time I refresh this page, this counter should increase. That's what I want to see, like as a next test, let's say. So let me go to the web PHP page. I can remove this comment for now because there is a lot of flat on the screen. Sorry. And for Redis, we have this interface that we need to use. Right? This is what I love about Laravel. Everything is there, ready to use. I don't need to really think too much. So
yeah, it's all built in. There's nothing to install extra there. That's really nice.
So the API is that Redis increment, I will call my key view count and 1. So every time this controller is called, the view count will increment. And I need to pass this information to the template. How you do that in Laravel? You provide an array and you pass the variable you want. So view count is, in this case, Redis get view count. This should do the query and send it to the template. So now in the template, I will have a paragraph here. That says view count, then the syntax to show stuff there, view count, and let's close this tag. Let's see what happens. It says 1. If I keep refreshing, this keeps going up. So I can say that is a successful test of Redis working and not somebody showing slides there.
I mean, being able to connect to Redis that fast is, I mean, I don't do PHP, but man, I kind of want to when I see this kind of stuff.
For me, I was telling you earlier, I mean, do you like bread, Burke?
Yeah.
Right? You like butter? Yes. Is bread with butter the greatest thing ever? Yes. Is it a complex thing? No. It doesn't have to be complex to be amazing, right? And here we have a solution like that. We have a great thing that was there like Docker, a great thing that like Laravel, and Visual Studio Code putting everything together. And
so is Laravel, would you say Laravel is easy to learn? This is a good question, I think, right?
From what I have done, it seems like, but I'm coming from a lot of years of PHP development experience. I used Symfony before, up to Symfony 2, so that's what I can talk about. Let's not make this, is this framework better than the other? Let's not go there. But for me, it feels that is a get things done type of framework. Like I literally went to Bing, right? And in Bing I typed, how can I use Redis with Laravel? And there was the query, and then put this here, send it to the template. You have the template there. That's it. There is not much to
Joseph, so this is a quick question from Joseph. How do you set up PHP and stop the error message? Joseph, you use a dev container. This is exactly what we're trying to avoid, right? And hence my comments about Rails earlier. My point being, I kind of wish we'd had something like this, so I could have just spun up a dev container, not had to worry about why is this thing not working on my computer? What did I do wrong? What freaking Stack Overflow command did I copy incorrectly?
And let me tell you something, Burke. I used to work for one of the biggest PHP websites in Germany. We have a lot of high load situation, moment where there were 17,000 concurrent users. I don't know how many Nginx were doing for the front end, like a big PHP deployment, okay? Anytime I had to set up a machine with PHP, I was scared because I need to set up the PHP ini config, make sure I find the extensions wherever because PHP has an extension for MySQL, an extension for Redis, an extension for you name it. All that, I'm really, really, I cannot say how happy I am that Laravel and Sail, they just give me a container that works. Thank you. I don't need to spend mind cycles on that.
All right, so listen, Chad, I want to get to some of your questions here. Starting with this one, which I think is well, I mean, we need to figure this out. Alvaro, did you really use Bing, or are you just promoting Bing?
I don't want to.
Listen, this is a safe place. You can be honest. Our chat likes to ask these tough questions, and we like that, chat. We love you for that.
Yeah. I don't want to do new tab on my on my browser. If that is what you're asking.
He's declining. He's declining. All right. So take from that what you will, Christopher. Thank you for that question. Let's see here. People talking about chmod 777. What's an alternative? Why are we talking about chmodding things again? What's going on? People trying to get stuff to work.
They are asking if it can be configured an Alpine version for the container.
Well, they're saying you have to change permission on the Laravel project files. I don't know if it's secure, but it worked for me.
Yeah, depends what you want. So on Linux, okay, let's talk about some stuff here, okay? Docker Compose. Let me see where this is defined. DevContainer. Yeah. You can see here that in the DevContainer, there is a remote user called Sail. That means, as far as I understand this code and the Docker Compose aspects of this code, and also the environment variables, right? If you go down here, you can see the group and the user to which I think is Sail belongs to. So in Linux, you are always creating things for a group and users to prevent everybody accessing everybody else's files, right? Because if the user running your web server was the same user running MySQL, then anybody that hacks your web server can immediately access your MySQL, or it will be very easy for them to do so.
Yeah.
So that's why you need to, in Linux, you need to understand which group is running things, which user is running things, and then from there you try to access those files if you want to change configuration and things like that. In this case, it's that group, that user, and as the composer files, as the container shows, is also the Sail user. So you may want to play with those settings.
So, Chad, I'm going to get to your last questions here because we gotta wrap this up. Just going through the list here. I want to see my comment on the video. Nope, sorry, we can't do that. I apologize. What else? Is there some more? Is there some more frameworks for PHP that is the same easy as Laravel in VS Code? This is a good question. And I'll let you answer this, Alvaro. But just as a point of context here, Laravel is a bit ahead of the game in general because they had this Sail tool. So they were already doing containerized dev environments, which is, that's sort of, you're already living in the future at that point. Yeah. I don't know, what the other frameworks are doing.
So I basically shopped around a bit. And here somebody says that the Yi framework also does it. The one that was kind of ready for this in a way was Laravel. I got in touch with the developers. Also, a big shout to Travis, right, from Laravel. They were very helpful with us. And we went and sent them a pull request. What was this pull request? The DevContainer thing, like how to glue what they had with VS Code. We asked the community, I can help you with that. If you want your framework to support dev containers like this, we can help you to get there. We can help you with the pull request. I mean, we would love for all PHP frameworks to support dev containers out of the box. As far as I know, right now is Laravel because we contributed these changes to them. So maybe you can go and open an issue on your framework on the GitHub page for them. Tell them what you saw on the demo today. Tell them what you like, that you saw this one command thingy and you would like that for your framework. Explain the situation, explain the use case. And I'm pretty sure developers are reasonable, right? Everybody is very reasonable. And we can get going this thing like as a standard in the PHP community. I believe a framework should have a one command thingy that you run it and you have a working project.
Yeah, I agree with that. We've got to get out of this scenario where learning a new framework requires you to make massive changes to your local system, and containerized dev environments allow you to stand up completely isolated dev environments. And it's great for stuff like this. I really wish we'd had this back in the Ruby on Rails days, where you had Rails and you had Active Record, and I think it was a MySQL backend. It was MySQL, right? Yeah, it had to have been. And I just remember how frustrating that was. And we're so close to being able to just make it so we don't have to do any of that anymore. All right, chat. Any other questions, comments? Y'all thank Alvaro for being with us. Thank you, Alvaro, for coming to talk about PHP and Laravel. We sure appreciate it. What should people do now if they want to? What should they do next? What are they supposed to do next?
I mean, go and learn about DevContainers, learn the specification, because there's a lot of things you can do here. And I don't know if we can have the link somewhere, but let me try to find it here. I share on the private chat, but I don't know if somebody can send it over. Yeah, learn about DevContainers. I think they are a very cool tool and very simple in a way. It's just telling, hey, VS Code, here are the containers. I spent the last month 2 sprints working on containers, setting up my project. Now I want you, VS Code, to know how to use them. That's a dev container file.
Yeah. So yes, and definitely y'all check out Laravel. And here's a challenge for you. If you join late, we played Wordle. If y'all, are everybody playing Wordle? Paste your Wordle score in the chat. Listen, go build a Wordle clone with Laravel. Use the MySQL database to store the words and see if you can build a simple Wordle clone. That's a cool project to do if you're looking to learn Laravel. We want to thank Laravel for adding the dev container to the tutorials, and just for doing the dev container thing kind of before everybody else was. And that's pretty rad. We're big fans. All right, 5 out of 6. That was your score? You got it in 5 today? I think I was right at 6. So Matt's got me beat already. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Alvaro. Y'all, make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube if you're already there. We appreciate that. Hang out with us on TikTok, tiktok.com/@VSCode. We post several times a week, and it's always good. And there's no dancing, so guaranteed. And then our meetup group. Listen, also, don't forget, we got VS Code Day coming up March 3rd. March 3rd at what is it, 8 a.m. Pacific time? Or do we have a URL? There, VS Code Day. It's going to be big this year. We've got a whole different format. The whole format is kind of like a TikTok format. That's all I can really tell you. You kind of got to show up to find out how it's going to be. But it's not going to be like any other event you've been to this year. I can guarantee you that much, online or otherwise. All right. Are you from Microsoft, guys? Yes, we are from Microsoft, Joseph. Yeah. Where are you from, Joseph? All right. Thanks, everybody. We will see you back here next week for the next VS Code live stream. Thank you, Alvaro. Thank you, Laravel. Talk to y'all later. Thanks.